what's happening. Madhya Lila, this is Madhya means the mid part, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, our highly esteemed biographer of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is trying to give us a small capsule presentation of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So he just goes on briefly touching so many different points. And it's a very personal thing. He talks to the reader, says that I know that my time is limited. At one point of time, he says, I am 90 plus. I can't see what I'm writing. My hands are trembling. My memory. Now, this is one thing. How come at age 92 or 95, his memory is so much sharp, intact? And he says, it's all by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just following the orders. And dear devotees, this is one big component of Bhakti Yoga process, that we use our intellect, we use our logic, we use our reasoning, something we can do, we cannot do. And at one stage, there is a overpowering presence of only one point, and that is, I'm just bowing down to the order of the superior. We see time and again and again, right from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling, just do it. I say, therefore do it. Believe me, there won't be any inauspicious in your life, Arjuna, just do it. Then we have in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see Mahaprabhu directing Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, almost all of his associates, he personally directed their lives. Then we have Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur telling our Prabhupada, preach in English. It will be good for you, it will be good for the world. Sometimes he used to say, if nobody comes, speak to the four walls. Just imagine. Is this preaching? You're just talking to four walls. And then Prabhupada distilling all that in his poems while on the way to America. I don't know what I am supposed to do there. Can you imagine? He say, I just don't know who will come, who won't come. Prabhupada wrote his diary, and then later devotees printed that book, Jaladuta diary. It also has some other, maybe a few months after Prabhupada landed in New York. So some girl came with her friend Charlotte, and Prabhupada writes, she seems to like Kirtan. Imagine, the audience was, they were not even saying we will chant or we will take up the process. And Prabhupada is happy if somebody just non-verbally said we like Kirtan. Somebody said, oh, I like the samosa. Prabhupada said, oh, they must be liking prasadam. So how tiny growth events were taking place in 1966 and 67. But do you think that Prabhupada was somebody who was very tiny in his ambition? One subway conductor in New York City, one Mr. Rubin, sitting on a park bench, just chatting up with this old Indian person, and this person is telling him, books, temples, devotees, all are existing. Just time is separating me from them. My Lord, just see. So Prabhupada gets a vision of the future, and he's also grounded in the present. He knows where it is. He knows how far he has to go. And one Spanish-speaking Hispanic lady came. So the conversation was, how are you? Are you okay? And like, Prabhupada didn't like that kind of talk, but then what can do? And in that conversation, which is again recorded, Prabhupada is saying, oh, you feel I am happy here? No, I am longing to be back in Vrindavan. So just a typical American attitude, or anywhere, not just America. So, well, if you like, then why don't you go there? Just do what you like. Isn't it simple in life? Just do what you like. And their Prabhupada says, oh, I can't. I am under the authority of a superior. I have to be obedient to my authority. Just see, there are devotees who say, if you feel chanting is a pressure, doing seva is pressure, or reading books is pressure, Prabhupada didn't tell his followers to do anything which he didn't do himself. Just think about that. And that is exactly the meaning of the word acharya. The Sanskrit word connected with that is acharan, that means your behavior. So basically, one who teaches by his behavior is an acharya. Other things like he may have a high throne, he may have a big uniform, he may have a big beard, he may not have a beard. All these are detail. But one who teaches you by his own example, her own example, that's an acharya. So we will now jump in the lake of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. 173 is when Mahaprabhu is traveling, and one Muslim king at that time said that, who is he? Why are people following him? Now this devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also very intelligent. So sometimes we feel that as soon as we become devotee, should we just allow anyone to walk over us, allow anyone to exploit us? And our material life goes between just two ends of a pendulum. Either I exploit the world, and then we come to bhakti and we say, okay, hey world, exploit me, I am available. Even within devotional life, sometimes people complain, oh, he or she used me up. I was not given any time for personal development or whatever. Use your common sense. Because we are all dealing with people who are more or less like one of us. And therefore, it is a high chance that if I am engaging one of you in some service, you may suspect that, hey, this is not going to Krishna, this is meant for him or her. Clarify doubts. Don't immediately jump to conclusions. We are all having faults. So one of Prabhupada's earlier disciples, Gurudas Prabhu, he has a favorite way, he speaks all the time about, he says, we are all work in progress. We are all work in progress. No one's perfect. So Rupa Goswami gives one big sutra in one of his teachings, that do not be neglectful of ordinary dealings. Do not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. And we all have unique natures, but whatever. So here the situation is, one king is asking his devotee servant, the king doesn't know that this person is a staunch follower. He said, is this holy man some kind of a miracle man, or is he, who is he? And immediately all kinds of alarm bells ring in this Keshav Chatri's mind, and said that if my king becomes envious of Mahaprabhu, he might put some impediments, he might do something. So he does just the reverse. He says, nah, he's just an ordinary guy. I mean, in India, you go in North India, Himalayas, you will find hundreds and thousands of such so-called mystic people or whatever. He's just an ordinary person. and the king says, so he said that out of jealousy, your Muslim servants plots against him. I think that you should not be very interested in him. There is no profit in it. that is simply lost. He's just an ordinary guy. So the king was pacified in this way, and immediately Keshav sent a messenger to Mahaprabhu saying that, please leave. This place is not suitable for you. Just see how much he's taking care. There are two incidents where the disciple practically offered their lives for protecting their guru. Quresh is a disciple of Ramanujacharya. That time the king, now this is a Hindu king, but he was a Shaivite. He was very angry that Ramanujacharya is making devotees follow Vishnu instead of Shiva. Now just imagine, people say, Hindus and Muslims and Christians, Catholics and Protestants, Shias and Sunnis, only if we have some commonality, we won't fight. No, we will fight no matter what. Unless we are all spiritually elevated to the point of I am not this body, we will fight. Bodily conception means fighting. So here in a Hindu area, a Shiva devotee king is poisoning a Vishnu devotee Acharya. Is trying to kill him. And when Ramanujacharya's followers are kind of cornered, this Quresh takes the saffron robes of Ramanujacharya, and Ramanujacharya takes on white cloth, and he somehow escapes from that big trouble. Then he goes to Melkote, he climbs upon a mountain there, and there is a Shila which is still there. When we go there, we can see it is called Paridhan Shila. So on that stone, he again removed his white cloth and took up saffron cloth. So that again also is a very holy place. So what did the king's soldiers do with, they thought they have captured Ramanujacharya. They blinded him, they plucked out his eyes. And then Ramanujacharya took him in front of Varadaraj Swami and he said, ask whatever you want, all your desires will be fulfilled. Now anybody would say, bring back my sight, bring back my vision. I gave my eyes for your sake. But Koresh wouldn't ask anything. He said, I'm happy that my body was used in your service. He said, ask something. Ask for vision. He said, no, I won't. And then Varadaraj Swami got Vishnu out of his own. And the Lord knows everything. So he gives his vision back. And as early as 1920, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was made a target of a conspiracy by some priests. They were very unhappy that he is allowing all castes and communities to chant Hare Krishna. He was allowing them to come to Vrindavan. When people came to know that this particular group which is traveling, temples would shut their doors. As they would go through Vrindavan's narrow lanes, they would be pelted with stones. Now, this is not 10,000 years old history. This is just 100 years old. So many times we take benefits, the chance to preach for granted. Oh, we could just chant in the corner of the street here, or we could do this. Please, all these are reminders that never take even the ability to chant for granted. My lips are moving, my body is fit, I can hear what I'm saying, my mind is jumping all over the place, but still I can chant Hare Krishna, and that's a great benediction. So, B.R. Sridhar Maharaj, one of Prabhupada's dear God brothers, he took the robes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and he allowed him to escape. So we see that great devotees, they show exemplary presence of mind. Sorry. Any points to make before we proceed? All right. So now we come to a very interesting point. Text 175, Madhya Lila, chapter 1. Dabir khasere raja puchila nibrite, gosair mahimate ho lagila kohite. Dabir Khas is actually the name of Rupa Goswami. Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, born in Saraswat Brahmana families, very highly esteemed and respected family, from Karnataka state originally. The family migrated to Bengal because of sometimes like how people go from one place to another for higher prospects. So that was that. And as they took this kind of very close quarter connection with the Muslim royalty, one brother became the prime minister, one became a personal secretary, and guess what happened? The Hindu community kicked them out. They said, we can't sit with you, we can't talk with you, we can't eat food, we won't marry our girls to your family, we won't marry your boys with our girls or your girls with our boys or whatever. In India, they call roti beti. Roti beti vyavahar. Roti means food and beti means giving your girl in marriage. And they say that both connections are gone. So many times we see Hindus became Muslims just because their community won't support them. What do? And what is the basis for not supporting them? Oh, you have been contaminated. Now, what do you mean contaminated? A Muslim would put water on somebody's head and that's it. In Goa, Christian missionaries would put some bread in a well and the entire village is called Christian now because you all drank water from that well. Now, this is not just for fun, or this is not just for understanding idiocy of people. How people could take that so seriously? So, like one, I don't know from which sampradaya, but somebody asked Prabhupada that all your disciples were cow eaters. How can you claim them to be purified? And now this is not documented, so this is I just heard from someone, but it makes sense. And Prabhupada countered. So you think that the contamination of beef is more powerful than the potency of the holy name? Is that what you're claiming? When we say the holy name is all powerful, the holy name is all pure. Nama Chintamani Krishna, Caitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna, Shuddha, Nitya, Mukta, Abhinatvat Nama Namina. I mean, every word is like a whole, you can have a canto on that. Nama Chintamani Krishna. Krishna's name is like Chintamani. Chintamani stone turns anything into gold. So that's the value of the holy name. We just say Krishna. That's the potency. Why don't I realize it? Because I'm not pure enough. So what do I do for that? Keep on chanting. So Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya, it is live. It is not dead. Rasa Vigraha, it is the embodiment of all mellows. That sweetness which I'm looking for in material relationships, the adventure, the emotional support, the warmth, all of that is in the holy name. Purna, you don't require any other ritual if you're taking the holy name. Shuddha, you don't need to purify. You know, sometimes devotees go to Radha Kund, Sham Kund or whatever and they dip their beads in it. They say, I'm purifying my beads. Or like bead bag you have to clean. Prabhupada would request a clean bag after every 3-4 days or whatever. But one Prabhupada disciple told that don't purify your beads. Your guru has chanted and that is the eternal purification. Don't insult it by saying that I am going to purify it. No. So Purna Shuddha Nitya. Krishna's name is eternal. It is not like when Mahaprabhu is there, when Mahaprabhu was there in Prakat Lila, Manifest Lila, that time the holy name was powerful and now it's kind of gone. No, the holy name is not your Windows 95, which is useless now. You need to have Windows 10 or 11, a new version. There is no new version of Krishna Lila or Krishna Naam. Nitya, Mukta. The holy name is eternally liberated from all material contamination. Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvat Nama Namino. And the name and the person named are non-different. Actually, dear devotees, the thing is that we can hardly realize even one of these attributes of the name. How do I know that the name is all pure? So therefore, we all need to be sadhakas of the holy name. That's the only thing. Funnily, one small class Prabhupada said, just like a drunkard. First of all, he seeks the association of other drunkards. And they discuss drinking. They discuss various brands of drinking. They discuss, oh, that day I was so drunk, it took me 18 hours to come. Their whole atmosphere is my past drinking, our current drinking party, and after we become sober, within a week, we will again drink. So Prabhupada says, so what happens? You don't associate with the drink, you associate with the drunkards first. You take thick association of them. You drink, and one day you become a pakka drunkard. You become just like one of them. Now imagine Prabhupada giving this kind of an analogy. He said, just do this with the holy name. Talk the holy name. Read about the holy name. Find out devotees who chant seriously. Associate with them. Even if you see one good attribute in a Vaishnavi near you, and you feel that, I think this Prabhu or this Mataji is more dedicated to Nam Seva, serve them in some small way. There is no better way to gain a particular attribute than by serving another devotee who has that. Give them some prasad, give them some praise their activities, praise the devotional service done by them. Then pray to the holy name that, oh Nam Prabhu, this devotee is much dearer to you. Kindly make me his or her servant and give me that some drop of taste which this particular devotee has. So I may be able to serve you. That's how it works. So whether it is reading, whether it is chanting, whether it is book distribution, whether it is any aspect of service, just pray to Krishna to give the association of those who are doing it better than you. And that's how you progress. So Shri Shyamananda, you have a question. What is live, not dead is the holy name means, Prabhuji? Okay. In this material world, this is a world of names. You know that? What do you mean it's a world of names? Somebody's name is Amar, Amarnath, Amar Singh, Amar Chand, so many Amars. The parents have lovingly called their son immortal. Is he immortal really because he's called immortal? No way. There is a skyscraper coming up in a suburb of Mumbai. It is surrounded by slums. But they say the name of our building is Manhattan. So they say, if you are asked, where do you stay in Mumbai? Say Manhattan. So this is the attraction people have for New York living, Manhattan. Wow, my building's name is Manhattan. Of course, Manhattan also has many slums and homeless people are found by the ton over there. But this is that thing of names. And the more you go deeper and deeper, after Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur left, Prabhupada wrote a poem and he said, what is this world? Just a world of names. That time he had left his family, he was preaching, no success. He says, wife, children, relations, and friends, where are they now? They're just like waves crash against the shore and foam. Foam is developed because of that interaction, and within 5 seconds, that foam just dissolves. So there is nothing alive here. Everything is dead. The whole material creation is dark. You need the sun in the day, the moon in the night to light things up. Our bodies are considered dead. Just the soul is there, so it animates the bodies. Once the soul leaves, the body just becomes a lump again. So these are some ways in which Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us that everything here is in one sense dead. And the life is only, Mahaprabhu taught his students that you call somebody king. Who is the king? Is the body king? When the soul leaves, can you tell the worms who have come to eat the body, this is the body of a king, don't touch? No, they will go ahead and eat. Can you tell fire that please do not burn this body? This body belongs to a king. No. Can you tell earth, please do not disintegrate this body? This body belongs to a king. No. So these are some ways in which it is said that this world is dead, and therefore Krishna, Krishna Nam, Krishna Lila, and Krishna's realm, they are the only places, they are the only things which are actually alive. It is said that the time we spent discussing Krishna is actually the time that we are alive. Otherwise, for everybody else, the rising sun and the setting sun simply steals one day at a time from their lives. The moment you are born, the sun is stealing your lifespan slowly, one by one. But the time you have spent in serving Krishna and discussing Krishna, that's the time you have actually been alive. Is it okay?
Prabhu, I have one more question related to this.
Okay, go ahead.
Prabhuji, in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, only we are calling the names. I mean, Hare Krishna, Rama. But calling the name, there is no glorification. I mean, there is no singing, there is no kirtan. I mean, just the names of Krishna. And everybody, I mean, we thought, I mean, it's a prayer. We are thinking a prayer, but there is no prayer. We are not praying, but we are speaking the names. How it is, the name should be the glorifying the Krishna. Can you please relate that?
Okay, very good question. You have Narasimha Swami Stotras, Varadaraj Swami, Tirupati Balaji, all these big Sanskrit, high worded, high sounding prayers. Like for Narasimhadev, Lakshmi Narsingha Mamade Akaravalamvam. Oh my dear Lord, please save me, my dear Lord. Please, this material world is too bad, too dangerous. Please save me. We Hare Krishnas, we find ourselves to be completely bereft of any qualification, just like a small baby. So a 6-month, 8-month, 1-year-old baby, if the baby is crying and somebody tells that, why don't you tell what exactly do you want? You want food? Do you want water? Is something biting you? You have some tummy ache? Unless you tell me, how am I supposed to know? So this is the intervention of the Acharyas. Prabhupada said, the Hare Krishna mantra is like a child crying for its mother. You don't need to translate your thoughts into anything. Therefore, Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself in his wisdom, has just given the simplest of all combination of letters. Hara is Radharani, the potency of Krishna. So she becomes Hare when you are addressing her. Krishna becomes Krishna. Krishna remains Krishna. You don't need to say something else. Ram also remains Ram. And the Acharyas, actually it is Mahaprabhu who is himself writing the books, Harinam Chintamani and other things. He said, through Haridas Thakur, I will teach the world the glories of the holy name. through Rupa and Sanatan, I will teach the process of bhakti. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given the book Harinam Chintamani, and that is a conversation between Haridas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And through the Acharyas, we understand that just chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What we are saying is, please, I beg of you, give me service eternally. So no need to make a separate prayer, no need to learn Sanskrit. You can speak in English, you can speak any language, but the underlying meaning is so deep that without, when you say, oh, that is not a prayer, or this is not a stotra, this is not a song, it is everything. The holy name itself will give everything. When Dhruva Maharaj did his tapasya, he wanted to speak, he couldn't speak anything. All the Lord did was touched his cheeks with the conch shell. And he just spoke like the flowing Ganga water. So much eloquent praise. So that's the understanding. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is full. It's poetry, it's poem, it's a beseeching statement, it's a prayer, it's puja, it's worship, it's rituals, everything what people were doing in the first three yugas. Otherwise, why call it Yuga Dharma? You see, the benefit of 60,000 years of meditation, the benefit of a huge fire sacrifice, the benefit of 16 ways of performing puja in the temple, all of that just with your japamala. Isn't it wonderful?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So, in private, the king inquired from Dabir Khas, Rupa Goswami, who began to speak about the glory of the Lord. Text 176. Je tomare rajya dila, je tomar gosaya, tomara deshe tomara bhagye, janmila asiya. Rupa Goswami said, Srila Rupa Goswami said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead who gave you this kingdom and whom you accept as a prophet has taken birth in your country due to your good fortune. 177. Tomara mangala vanche karja siddhi hoy, ihar ashirvade tomar sarvatra joy. This prophet always desires your good fortune. By his grace, all your business is successful. By his blessings, you will attain victory everywhere. He's talking to the king about how this particular prophet, means Mahaprabhu, will benefit you. Text 178. More ke na pucha, tumi pucha panman, tumi naradhipa how Vishnuvam shasam. This is very interesting what he's telling the king. Why are you questioning me? Better that you question your own mind. Because you're the king of the people, you are the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you can understand this better than I. Now, this is something which is very common in Vedic texts. The king would be called the representative of God. When we say God, how do we see God? So the Vedic culture would tell that an uninvited guest at your door should be treated like how you would treat God. Atithi Devo Bhava. A Brahmana engaged in the service of the Lord should be considered worthy of giving respect like what you would give God. Bhudeva. King would be called Naradeva. It is interesting that even in European culture, as early as, as late as the 16th century, somebody from the church, the Pope or his representative, the person who would be crowned king, he would kneel in front of this priest or Pope or whatever. The Pope would take the crown in his hand, put it on the head and say that on behalf of God, please rule wisely. The king doesn't have power. Then he's given the staff, which is called a Rajadanda, a stick, very glorified gold emblazoned stick or whatever. So the idea that No man is powerful, but he takes power from higher sources. It is there in so many cultures. It is only when all these kings proved to be useless, tyrants, bloodthirsty dictators, that people lost faith. In Paris, Prabhupada was sitting on a huge high seat. Devotees thought that we should give him a proper seat. That time, communists were very powerful in Paris, France, all over Europe. So the students came and they started shouting, and they were shouting in French. And Prabhupada said, why are they disturbing us? We have come here to speak about Krishna. Why are they disturbing us? And then one devotee translated, they are objecting to your taking a high seat. And Prabhupada said, I am not attached to that. Take it away. I can sit on the floor, no issues. In Hong Kong, devotees had taken a big suite of rooms in a skyscraper 5-star hotel. And one reporter came, and you know something, he asked Prabhupada, oh, Swamiji, you're talking big things of renunciation, simplicity. Look at us. Where are we? We are in a skyscraper luxury suite of this 5-star hotel. Prabhupada said, look, I can talk with you sitting under a tree in a forest in India. Would you come? You won't come. Because you would come to a Hong Kong skyscraper luxury suite, therefore I am here. I don't belong here. I'm not attached to this place. I can preach anywhere. No answer. He understood that, yeah, this is a fact. I will not come all the way to India to learn spirituality, but Swamiji has come. So that's how we understand. So therefore, he is saying here that you are the representative of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, you can understand this better than I. Text 179. Tomara chitte chaitanyera kaiche hai gyan. Tomara chitte chailay saita brahman. Translation. Thus, Srila Rupa Goswami informed the king about his mind as a way of knowing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He assured the king that whatever occurred in his mind could be considered evidence. My lord, such a risky thing, telling someone, you ask your mind, who is he? And that's it. I assure you, your mind will not lie to you. Don't do this. Our minds can lie to us. Okay? But here is Rupa Goswami assuring him. So let us see what happens. Text 180. Raja kahe shuna mor mane jailai sakshat ishwar iha nahi ka samshay. The king replied, I consider Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the supreme personality of Godhead. There is no doubt about it. Text 181. Etta kahi raja gela nija abhyantare tabe dabir khas aila apanara gare. After having this conversation with Rupa Goswami, the king entered his private house. Rupa Goswami, then known as Dabir Khas. Khas is a word which is quite well known in India. Khas means special. Khas means, here it means a personal private secretary or a personal assistant, a PA as they say. A very confidential position given to Rupa Goswami. Fabulous salary, big palatial mansion, hundreds of servants at home, at office. We can't imagine the kind of opulent life most of the Goswamis had, except for maybe Gopal Bhatta. He was born in a priest's house. Otherwise, they were fabulously rich. Raghunath Das Goswami's father says, my son has the opulence of Indra. He has the wife whose beauty surpasses an Apsara. And I don't know what else can I do. So his mother says, so what do you think we should be doing? Let us bind him. So the mother says, bind him. The father says, bind him. Money and women are the only ropes which can bind someone. If they don't work, what else will work? He's not attracted spending money. He's not attracted with a beautiful wife. So what can be done? So yeah. So Prabhupada gives a very nice purport here. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A monarch is certainly a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram 5.29. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the proprietor of all planetary systems. In each and every planet, there must be some king, governmental head, or executive. Such a person is supposed to be the representative of Lord Vishnu. On behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must see to the interests of all the people. Therefore, Lord Vishnu, as Paramatma, gives the king all intelligence to execute governmental affairs. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore asked the king what was in his mind concerning Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and indicated that whatever the king thought about him was correct. Would someone like to start reading from text 182?
May I continue, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Text 182, Hare Krishna. घारे आसी दुई भाई युकति करीना प्रभु देखी बारे चाले वेशा लुकाना. After returning to his residence, Dabir Kasha and his brother decided after much consideration to go see the Lord incognito. अर्धरात्रे दुई भाई आइला प्रभु स्थाने प्रथमे मिलीला Nityananda Haridasa Sane. Thus, in the dead of night, the two brothers, Dabir Kasha and Shakar Mallika, went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incognito. First, they met Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura. Text 184. Tandra Dui Jana Jana Ila Prabhura Gochare Rupa Shakara Mallika Aila Toma Dekhi Bhare. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakura told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that two personalities, Sri Rupa and Sanatana, had come to see him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sakar Mallika and was the name of Sanatana Goswami, and Dabir Kasha was the name of Rupa Goswami. They were recognized by these names in the service of Muslim king. Therefore, these are Muslim names. As officials, the brothers adopted all kinds of Muslim customs. Dui Gucha Tandra Dunhe Dashane Dharina Gale Vastra Bhandi Pade Dandavathana. In great humility, both brothers took bunches of straw between their teeth, and each binding a cloth around his neck fell down like rods before the Lord. Text 186. Dainya Rodana Kare Ananda Vihwala Prabhu Kahe Uta Haila Mangala. Upon seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two brothers were overwhelmed with joy, and out of humility they began to cry. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked them to get up and assured them of all good fortune. Uthi dui bhati tabe dhante tara dahi dainya kari stuti kare kara yoda kari. The two brothers got up, and again taking straw between their teeth, they humbly offered their prayers with folded hands. Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Maya Patita Pavana Jaya Jaya Mahashaya. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful savior of the fallen souls. All glories to the Supreme Personality. Nicha Jati Nicha Sangi Kari Nicha Khaja Tomara Agrete Prabhu Kahite Vasilaja. Sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates and employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. We feel very much ashamed standing here before you. Purport: although the two brothers Rupa and Sanatana, at that time Dabir Kasha and Sakar Mallika, presented themselves as being born in a low family, they nonetheless belonged to most respectable Brahmana family that was originally from Karnataka. Thus, they actually belong to the Brahmana caste. Unfortunately, because of being associated with the Muslim governmental service, their customs and behavior resemble those of the Muslims. Therefore, they presented themselves as Nicha Jati. The word Jati means birth. According to Shastra, there are three kinds of birth. The first birth is from the womb of the mother. The second birth is the acceptance of the reformatory method. And the third birth is acceptance by the spiritual master, initiation. One becomes abominable by adopting an abominable profession or by associating with people who are naturally abominable. Rupa and Sanatana, as Dabir Kasha and Chakar Mallika, associated with Muslims who are naturally opposite to Brahmanical culture and cow protection. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, it is stated that every person belongs to a certain classification. A person is identifiable by the special symptoms mentioned in the Shastras. By one symptoms, one is known to belong to a certain caste. Both the Kasha and Chakra Mallika belonged to the Brahmana caste, but because they were employed by Muslims, their original habits degenerated into those of the Muslim community. Since the symptoms of Brahmanical culture were almost nil, they identified themselves with the lowest caste. In the Bhakti Ratnakara, it is clearly stated that because Shakra Mallika and Dabir Kasha associated with low class men, they introduced themselves as belonging to the lower classes. Actually, however, they had been born in respectable Brahmana families. Text 190. Mattulyo nasti papatma napharadi chakshana pariharepi lajjami kim bhruve purushottama. Translation: Dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed, and what to speak of giving them up. Purport: this verse is Bhakti Samrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. Text 191. Patita pavana hetu tomara avatara ama bhai jagate patita nahi ara. The two brothers submitted, Dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider that in this world there is none so fallen as us. Jagai madai dui karile udhara tahan udharite ashrama nahila tomara. You have delivered the two brothers Jagai and Madai, but to deliver them, you did not have to exert yourself very much. Brahmana jati tara navadvipe ghara niche seva nahi kare nahi nichera krupara. The two brothers, Jagai and Madai, belonged to the Brahmana caste and their residence was in the holy place of Navadvipa. They never served low-class persons, nor were they instruments to be abominable activities. Text 194. Sabe eka dosha tara haya papachara Papa Rasi Dahe Nama Basei Tomara. Jagai and Madai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activity. However, volumes of sinful activity can be burned to ashes simply by a dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. Purport: Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami presented themselves as being lower than the two brothers Jagai and Madai, who were delivered by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. When Rupa and Sanatana compared themselves to Jagai and Madai, they found themselves inferior because the Lord had no trouble in delivering two drunken brothers. This was so because despite the fact that they were addicted to sinful activity, in other ways their life was brilliant. They belonged to the Brahmana caste of Navadvipa, and such Brahmanas were pious by nature. Although they had been addicted to some sinful activities due to bad association, those unwanted things could vanish simply because of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Another point of Jagai and Madai was that as members of a Brahmana family, they did not accept service under anyone. The Shastra strictly forbade a Brahmana to accept service under anyone. The idea is that by accepting a master, one accepts the occupation of the dog. In other words, a dog cannot thrive without having a master. And for the sake of pleasing the master, dog offends many people. They bark at innocent people just to please the master. Similarly, one is servant, he has to perform abominable activities according to the orders of the master. Therefore, when the Abhashaka and and the Sakra Mallika compared their position to that of Jagai and Madai. They found Jagai's and Madai's position far better. Jagai and Madai never accepted the position of serving a low-class person, nor were they forced to execute abominable activities under the order of a low-class master. Jagai and Madai chanted the name of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by way of blasphemy, but because they simply chanted his name, they immediately become free from the reactions of sinful activities. Thus, later they were saved.
So we'll briefly stop here. Now, this is how devotees would see, and this is how we are also supposed to train our mind. Now, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami had Bhagavad Katha in their homes. They were so pure. They were always longing, when can they be relieved from this job? When can they go to Krishna? And here they are saying, but my Lord, we are lower than Jagai Madai. We have accepted a position of employment. Jagai Madai didn't do that. I haven't seen a proper Shastric statement somewhere, but a movie was made on the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back in the 1940s or 50s, something like that. And there, and Prabhupada also mentions in one conversation that when Jagai Madai, like they would be already drunk on very strong liquors, they saw Harinam party, Mahaprabhu's chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So they used to say, hey, this rascal Nimai, he chants very nicely, huh? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Now this is the only holy name sadhana they did, of ridiculing and blaspheming the Harinam party as it would go around Navadip town. But guess what happened? The holy name, like fire, it acts, whether you know it or not. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami are taking the position that we are much lower than them. In fact, later when we read the whole incident, Mahaprabhu tells them, stop, stop, your humility is breaking my heart. But that was the standard. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I am lower than Jagai Madhai. If somebody takes my name, he becomes sinful. If somebody remembers me, he loses all pious credit. They didn't just think like that, they lived like that. So again and again and again, so this is like a flow chart. We want to be happy, don't we all? Oh yeah, I want to be happy. So how do we become happy? Associate with the happiest person. Okay, who's that? Krishna. How do I associate? Chant his name. But I have no taste. You don't have taste because of offenses. Avoid offenses. How do I do that? Cultivate taste for the name. But how do I do that? I am offensive. So this is where the program gets hung, as they say. To perform A, B has to be performed. To perform B, A has to be performed. That's what your computer says. We can't function. So one example is, in case of jaundice, you take sweet sugarcane juice, but the tongue says, it's bitter. No, it's not bitter. You ask, is it bitter? Yeah, bitter, yeah. But you're asking similarly jaundice patients. Ask somebody who is normal. Find out somebody who is normal and he says, oh, it's very sweet. So Rupa Goswami says the name is sweet. Hara Thakur says the name is sweet. Tukaram Maharaj says the name is sweet. Will they cheat just because they want your money or whatever? No, they're already renounced in everything. So therefore, this is the time where we don't believe our own mind, don't believe our own ego, don't believe our own intellect. No, they are saying it's sweet, that means it is sweet. So therefore, we keep on chanting, keep on chanting, keep on chanting, knowing fully well that I don't have the taste, I cannot relish it. After chanting After finishing my chanting, I relish the prospect of no chanting. I'm just confessing. Sometimes you chant and after you, I'm relieved. My rounds are done. That's like homework. But Jiva Goswami says, the fear of punishment, the fear of not chanting is also a good foundational thing for you. Don't worry about that. So therefore, because we cannot exclusively chant, we need seva, we need to make garland, we need to decorate the deities, we need to make a pamphlet, we need to print a brochure, we need to print books, we have to bargain with authorities for land, we have to fight court cases, we do everything. But our main goal is to chant once purely. Nothing can replace that. So we will stop here. We'll meet again next week. Thank you all. Vancha kalpatarubhascha, kripa sindhubheva cha.